Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today it's time for me to do my monthly reading wrap up for August 2022. This should be a fairly short reading wrap up because as of the moment that this video goes live, I should be in Chicago, in Illinois, in America, attending the Worldcon there with a bunch of friends who happen to be booktubers, which I am greatly looking forward to. And as a result of obviously going to Chicago for the Worldcon, obviously the month has been a bit of a light reading month because obviously I've had to get things ready for that, plus certain other things that has made my reading much lighter than normal. So this hopefully will be a quick wrap up. Anyway, the first thing I read is actually one physical book in this format, but it's actually a trilogy, and that is The Riddle Master's Game, written by Patricia A. McKillop. This is the Fantasy Masterworks version, which combines all three books. The three books of the Riddle Master's Game trilogy are The Riddle Master of Head, Heir of Sea and Fire, and the Hugo and World Fantasy Award shortlisted Harpist in the Wind. So you know, one of these has been shortlisted for Hugo Award, and that's where I happen to be. So, you know, it's appropriate as well. Randomly as well, that was not planned. And this is a interesting book. It was a long book to read as well, quite difficult to read. It's going to be a very difficult book to describe the plot of, because basically it's about one man, the Prince of Head, which is a small kingdom known for farming, basically, you know, very sort of non-aggressive, non-warlike. Morgan is a non-aggressive person, you know, he doesn't, you know, he's a farmer, frankly. I mean, he might be a prince, but he's a farmer, and it's a very gentle kingdom. However, that doesn't mean though that other things don't start coming into effect, and basically all three of the books that comprise this trilogy are essentially based around him and all the characters going on a fairly unusual adventure to sort of have to deal with certain events that are starting to unravel in the world, because he, Morgan, has got a very specific destiny because he has a harp and he has these 3 stars on him, and he doesn't know why this is happening, but he knows that he has to deal with it because frankly he'll never be able to get, you know, any peace in life until this is dealt with. So away he goes, and things start spiraling from there in a rather curious way. I enjoyed this trilogy. It was difficult to read. The ideas and the world building was interesting but strange, and I can't even describe entirely why it was strange. It just felt quite different from a lot of other books, especially fantasy books that I've read. The characters were alternative and not sort of follow any stereotypes at all, really. The world building was even not following any sort of normal, you know, tropes or stereotypes. Frankly, it's actually impressive because the whole time I was reading it, I didn't know what to expect next, and I was puzzled by what I was reading, because all the time I was like, okay, this is a bit unusual. And frankly, it was actually impressive because it's not, you know, like standard fantasy book. The sort of the formatting and just sentence structure feels somehow different, and I was actually really impressed by it. So I would rate this quite highly if you wanted something alternative with interesting characters, an interesting plot, and definitely something very different indeed from most other books that I've personally read. It really was quite special. And the second and final thing I'm going to talk about, because I did say this was going to be a very short and fast wrap up, is the first book in the Heliconia Trilogy. This is the SF Masterworks edition. It is a massive book. It is 1,300 pages in total. This comprises obviously 3 books, which is Heliconia Spring, which I've read, Heliconia Summer, which I'll be reading once I get back from the Worldcon, and Heliconia Winter. Basically, this is essentially one big combined trilogy But all three books are focused around the world of Heliconia, which is a very large planet, somewhat Earth-like, but much larger, and on a very alternative sort of year, where you have a normal year, like we do, but then you have a great year due to the fact there's two suns. You have a great year, and that is several thousand years. And basically this is telling the story of this great year where you have essentially an ice age that slowly falls out, becomes a burning hot, essentially summer, endless summer seemingly, before going back to winter again basically, and an ice age all close to it. And it's about the civilization or civilizations in fact, because there are more than one, that are developed, flourish, and then die in spring, summer, and winter. This cycle, endless cycle, and endless loop of life that fails, and from the failure comes more life. And it's an interesting concept. I've only read the first one. It took me a while to read because it's so focused on the world building and the overall atmosphere of the world, that the characters are, yes, they are developed to a degree. You know that they're not that important because in Heliconia, for instance, I'm almost certain that all of the characters that you get to know in Heliconia Springs will be dead, and it will be their descendants in the far future. And then obviously again, I assume it will be in Heliconia Winter, it will be again an awfully long time after that, and it won't be related character wise to the second one. So it's an interesting concept, and one that I actually did enjoy. It's a hard read. I'm not going to deny, when you know that the characters you're reading are in a sense irrelevant. It doesn't really matter what they do because it's not about the characters, it's about this big cycle of life. It's hard to read, but I did enjoy it, and I will be very happily reading the next two. Obviously I've still got my bookmark in the book in preparation for reading this when I get back from the Walcom. And if you want something different, maybe try this. Although this is the SF Masterworks version, which I like the look of physically. It's hard work to read though, because this is a very large, very heavy book, and it's actually quite painful on your wrists, frankly. So it's also a slow read because you gotta have breaks, and you can't read too much in one go because it feels like it's breaking my fingers, frankly. Anyway, with that said, that is actually it for this monthly wrap up. I did say it was going to be short, and for a change, I've actually managed to keep to that. So if you've read either of these two trilogies or you would like to, then please leave a comment. All my social media links can be found in the description box below. And I will be back next week with more normal videos where I'm not going on about walk-ons and things that are stopping me. Although, there will be a walk-on related video where I'm going to try and take a lot more pictures, and indeed I will try and actually film using my film camera in America, but obviously I don't know how that will turn out, so that video may never happen, because if the footage I film is terrible or I don't end up filming very much, then there'll be no point making a video. I'll just talk about it on Twitter or something instead. Anyway, and with that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching. I'll see you another day. Bye for now.